Straight ahead on the Weekend Morning Report, President Trump is the latest to contract COVID-19. He's now being monitored at a military hospital in Maryland. We'll bring you the very latest. Plus, Halloween is right around the corner, but will the kiddos be able to go door to door this year? We'll see how folks in one Maine community are preparing. Welcome back, everyone. I am Samantha York. It's Saturday, October 3rd, 2020. We're going to have those stories and much more just ahead. But first, let's check in with Todd again with the weather. Hey, Todd.
Hi, Sam. Good to see you. Saturday morning, a little strange for me.
Surprise!
Not used to this, but
No.
Ryan's getting some well-deserved time off this weekend. And Jess Connolly will be in tomorrow morning to have some fun with you, too. All right, let's get started, guys. Your Friday evening was a wet one. We had those showers come through, and some of that moisture is still out there. We had some fog form last night. It looks like it's fairly dense in spots, but it shouldn't be much of a problem for you on the roads this morning. In a couple of hours, you're probably heading out to do your Saturday morning errands or go do your little ritual where you pick up your coffee and your donut and hang out and watch the surf or something like that. You should be fine. It shouldn't be too bad on the roads. Temperatures are in the 40s in eastern and northern Maine, where we had more cloud cover last night, but where it did clear, it's actually pretty cold this morning. Lewiston currently 36 and very close to 32 down in Sanford. There are likely some communities in York County that have some frost this morning with that moisture out there. Now, we do have high pressure in the northeast, but it's what we call a dirty high. It's not going to give us perfectly sunny days. Unfortunately, we have some upper level energy right here that'll be swinging through. So at times, today is actually going to be mostly cloudy. You're going to say to yourself, wait, I thought this weekend was supposed to be gorgeous, but it's only supposed to be so-so. It won't rain on you, although I can't rule out an isolated sprinkle during the midday or early afternoon. You can see a few little specks of green there. The majority of us won't see a drop this weekend. It just won't be perfectly sunny, but you'll have a little bit of sun out there and temperatures that reach about 60 or even 65 in a few spots. So some patchy fog early on and otherwise clear and cool. It'll be around 45 degrees, so you need a jacket heading out this morning. Partly sunny, chance for a sprinkle midday around 60, and then sun and clouds this evening, but remaining quiet and tranquil, 58 degrees. So we'll be looking at the rest of your weekend and see what our next big rain chance is next week. Details coming up in a few.
I want to thank everybody for the tremendous support. I'm going to Walter Reed Hospital. I think I'm doing very well, but we're going to make sure that things work out. The First Lady is doing very well. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. I will never forget it. Thank you.
President Trump is at Walter Reed Hospital in Maryland this morning, where he will be monitored one day after testing positive for COVID-19. The president shared that video message on Twitter yesterday, his first message to the public since his initial tweet that he had tested positive. The past 24 hours have felt like a whirlwind of new information and big questions. So this morning we're going to spend some time helping you get up to speed with everything we know so far and what we're still waiting to find out. So first off, let's check in on how President Trump is doing. The White House says the move to Walter Reed was a precautionary measure recommended by the president's physician. He's expected to stay there for several days. 3 people familiar with his condition said yesterday that Trump has a low-grade fever. The president's doctor said he was administered an antibody cocktail along with vitamins and is fatigued. In a letter, Dr. Conley says that President Trump is not on oxygen and has started remdesivir therapy. He added that First Lady Melania Trump has a mild cough and headache. After an unusually quiet day on Twitter, the president tweeted late last night from Walter Reed, quote, "Going well, I think." Medical experts across the country have been offering their viewpoints on the president's overall health. According to the Centers for Disease Control, age and weight are both high risk factors when it comes to the coronavirus. Because President Trump is 74 years old, he falls under the category of people at critical risk of developing severe symptoms of COVID-19. President Trump had an active travel schedule this week, which means he was in contact with a lot of people. On Monday, he held events at the White House. The next day, he traveled to Cleveland for the debate. On Wednesday, he went to Minnesota for a fundraiser and rally. And that's the day his aide began feeling sick and started isolating herself. Then on Thursday, he flew to his resort in New Jersey. He announced he tested positive early Friday morning. There's a long list of people who were in close contact with the president since the debate on Tuesday. NBC News put together a list of people who were in close contact with the president since the debate on Tuesday. We do know that some of these people have tested negative, including Eric and Laura Trump. Here are some other people who have tested negative so far, including Vice President Mike Pence, Ivanka Trump, and Jared Kushner. Former Vice President Joe Biden says he's gotten 2 negative tests. Other than the President, Trump, and First Lady, we know that the president's former counselor, Kellyanne Conway, has tested positive. Some other notable cases include RNC Chair Ronna McDaniel, one of the president's Trump's top advisors, Hope Hicks, Utah Senator Mike Lee, and North Carolina Senator Thom Tillis. And late last night, we learned that President Trump's campaign manager, Bill Stepien, also tested positive. So far, it's not clear if these cases are connected. So now that the work for contact tracers begins, they're looking at a handful of recent events. That includes a fundraiser the president hosted at his golf club in New Jersey on Thursday and Wednesday's campaign rally in Minnesota. In an interview with Fox News, Trump said that service members and law enforcement could have spread the virus.
It's very, very hard when you are with people from the military or for law enforcement and they come over to you and they want to hug you and they want to kiss you because we really have done a good job for them. And you get close and things happen.
Another event that contact tracers are looking into is the Rose Garden ceremony for Judge Amy Coney Barrett that happened last Saturday. Several people who attended have now tested positive. Officials in Cleveland say 11 people connected to this week's presidential debate tested positive for the coronavirus, though the Cleveland Clinic Friday night said those people never accessed the debate site. The clinic says those who tested positive were either members of the news media or part of the setup crew. Now, with all this in mind, there's still a lot to unpack. Here's Jason Puckett to answer some questions you've been asking and verify some posts you might have seen circulating.
We're talking about the president and first lady testing positive for COVID-19 and what that means this close to an election, and what Senator Mike Lee's positive diagnosis could mean for the vote to advance Judge Amy Coney Barrett as the Supreme Court nominee. First question, if the president is sick, can the election be delayed? Yes, but Congress would have to make that decision, and they don't have much time. Article 2 of the Constitution says Congress determines the time of the vote. The law currently sets Election Day as the first Tuesday following the first Monday of November. So Congress would have to pass a new law to change that, requiring approval by both the House and Senate. However, the 20th Amendment says that the new Congress and president must be in place by January. Next question. What happens with the election if a candidate drops out of the race this late? Well, according to the bylaws of both the Democratic National Committee and Republican National Committee, the leadership of both parties would decide who replaces the candidates. That's only happened once in 1972 when VP candidate Thomas Eagleton resigned from the Democratic ticket after the DNC. Party leaders replaced him with another candidate. The big difference, though, that all happened in August. So what about the debates? The next presidential debate is scheduled for the 15th, less than 2 weeks from now. CDC guidelines for COVID-19 patients include isolating for at least 10 days after symptoms first appear. So will the next debate be moved, canceled, or done virtually? Well, right now, we don't know. The Commission on Presidential Debates hasn't said what they're doing in response to this news. As of now, the debates are still scheduled. The last question has to do with Senator Mike Lee's announcement that he tested positive for COVID-19 and is isolating right now. Senator Lee sits on the Senate Judiciary Committee, which is scheduled to start nomination hearings for Judge Amy Coney Barrett to serve as a Supreme Court justice starting October 12th. Main question, can Senator Lee vote remotely if he's still isolated? We checked with the rules of the Senate Judiciary Committee and found the answer is yes. In the committee, a senator can vote, quote, by writing or by telephone or through personal instructions. However, if the vote moved past the committee while Lee was still isolating, he would have to return in person to vote on a Senate floor vote because voting by proxy is not allowed outside committees. Now, so far, both Mike Lee and Judiciary Committee Chair Senator Lindsey Graham both say Lee is planning to isolate now, but will return in person to vote on the nomination process. Folks, if you have other claims or questions for us to look into, send us an email. With your Verify, I'm Jason Puckett.
We are going to keep monitoring the situation as we learn more. Coming up in the next half hour, though, we'll have even more details on the president's trip to Walter Reed, plus how Megan's congressional delegation is responding.
Happy weekend, everybody. While it is going to be a pretty good weekend, there's a small chance for a shower as we hit the afternoon. Looks like noon to about 6 o'clock, just a 20% chance, so it's really, really small. But I don't want you to be surprised if you get wet for a few minutes. You can see a few little sprinkles showing up there in the mountains midday. They're sneaking through the foothills mid-afternoon into the coastline this evening. After that, we'll clear out once again, and Sunday looks fine as well. All right, we'll be looking at the 7-day forecast, see if there are any big storms on the horizon. Coming up, that's Daybreak Saturday morning. Stick around.